Hello guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Emmanuel. In this tutorial, we are going to be creating the flyer we have on our screen here. If you're an old subscriber, thank you for coming back. If you're new to this channel, kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification icon to get notified whenever we post a new video. Without further ado, let's get started. Now the next thing we want to do is to create our design canvas, and to do that, all we need to do is to delete the image we have on our screen here, and we'll select the image and click the delete option, and then we'll delete it. Now we'll head on to the three dot on the top right corner of our screen, and then we'll click on image size, and we'll input the value for our design, and the value is 1280 pixels by 1280 pixels. Because we are designing for social media, we want it to be a square, and we'll click OK. Now the next thing we want to do is to head on to the plus icon here, and then to add a shape, we'll add a square, and then we'll scale it all the way to fit to our screen, and then we'll check. The next thing we want to do is to lock our shape, to put it in place so that it doesn't move around when we are designing. So we'll head on to the layer option, and then this is our square here. Then we'll lock it by clicking on the padlock icon, and then we'll go back. Now the next thing we want to do is to start designing our background, because that's the first thing we need to do, and every other design will be on top of our background. So we'll head on to our gallery by clicking on the plus icon here, and then we'll head on to gallery, and then I head on to my tutorial files. So these files, it will be linked in the description of this video for those of you who want to follow this tutorial. So you head on to the link to this video, and then you download it. So we'll select our first image, which will serve as our first background. So we'll select it, and then we'll click OK, and then we'll place it, we'll scale it up like this, scale it up, and then we'll place it neatly like this. And then we'll also head on to the layer option here, and then we'll lock it to keep it in place. Now the next thing we want to do is to bring in our second image. Because we are designing for Miss Peace Ambassador Nigeria, we want the background to be a bit greenish to represent Nigeria. So I'll bring in the second image for my background. I'll head on to the plus icon from gallery, and then this is the second image here, and then I'll place it there, and then I'll scale it like this. I'll scale it a bit like this, scale it to fit to my design, and then I'll place it, and then I'll head on to the shape option, and then I will reduce the opacity a bit so that it will look a bit transparent, and the one behind it will pop up a little. So I click OK. So the next thing I want to add is another image to make up my background, but before that, let me lock this image to keep it in place. So I'll lock it to keep it in place, head on to the plus icon, and then from my gallery, and then I select the third image, which is this, and then I place it. So the image is a line, it's not so visible, you won't really see it, but it's there. So we have it placed neatly, and then we'll head on to the layer option, and then we'll lock it to keep it in place. Now the next thing we want to do is to start placing our text and some of the objects we'll have on our screen. So we'll head on to the plus icon, and then from our gallery we'll import the logo of this very pageant. So the logo is white so that it can show on our design. We'll just crop it a little, and we'll crop it this way like this, and then we'll click OK. So we'll have it like this, and we'll scale it down a bit to reduce the size. We'll scale it down like this, and we'll place it somewhere up like this. Yeah, and we have it nicely. For now, I won't lock the logo because I might want to make a little adjustment to it while designing, so I will leave it there for now. So the next thing we want to do is to add the text, that is the name of the Pageant company. So we'll select the plus icon here, and then we'll click on text. So we have our text option, we'll drag it all the way, and then we'll tap. So we'll erase it, and then we'll type it in all caps. So we have Miss Peace Ambassador Nigeria. So we have it like this, and we'll click on OK. And the next thing we want to do is to drag it a bit because we want it all to be on a single line. Yeah, and then we'll head on to the text option, and then we'll look for size, and we'll reduce it to about 20 pixels, and then it's okay for now. So the next thing we want to do is to change the font to make it a little bolder. So with the text selected, we'll look for font, and then we'll locate I have some fonts here, so we'll use this railway bold. So we use it, and then we'll click on OK. So we'll drag it a bit. So the next thing we want to do is to increase the text spacing. So it's to increase the spacing between the letters. So we'll drag it all the way like this, and then we'll increase it from here, and then we'll increase it again like this, and then we'll have it neatly here. So we'll drag it up, we'll place it, but it's a bit it's too much, so we'll reduce it to about 20. Reduce it to about 20. I think this is perfect. So we'll click on OK, and we'll place it here. So the next thing we want to do is to make this text a little bit bolder again, because I want it to be bold. So we'll head on to style here, and then we'll click on the bold option to make it bold, and then we'll check. So it's looking bolder now. So the next thing we want to do is we want to give this text a gold effect. So we have a gold texture in our design resources. So we'll head on to texture, and then we'll select it, and then this is the gold texture we'll be using here. So we'll click it, and then we'll click OK. So we have it there. So if you notice from the design, our text is not so visible, so we'll give it a little stroke. We'll select stroke, and we'll activate it, and then I want to change the color of this stroke to white, and then I'll reduce it to 3. I'll reduce it to 3 pixels, and it's okay. So I'll give it a shadow. I'll reduce the blur radius to, let's say, 5, or let's say 3. So it's just to make the text pop up, and it's looking nice. So I'll place it somewhere around here. So the next thing I want to do is Miss Peace Ambassador Nigeria presents. They are presenting the first edition of their pageantry, and thus they are making awareness for the sales of form. So I'll head on to the plus icon, and also add another text. And then this one is going to be present. So they present. So we'll click on OK, and then we'll go to our font, and then we'll change it to something italic. So I have a font here that I downloaded, Scriptina. or let me use Taken by Vulture or Tuesday Night. Okay, let me see which one is better. So I think I'll use Tuesday Night. So I'll activate it. Okay, and then I'll reduce the size a bit. I'll reduce the size a bit, but this font is looking a bit faint and it's not so readable, so I'll change the font to something else. Let me change it to something else. um let me change it to something else. So let's use this. Let's use this. So I think this is perfect. So the next one we want to do is to increase the word spacing. So we increase it like this, and then we'll click OK, and then we'll add a stroke to make it a bit bolder. So we'll change the color of the stroke to white, and then we'll reduce the width of the stroke to 1. So we drag it all the way and we'll place it somewhere here. So the next thing we want to do is to add the price of the form. They are selling the form for 10,000 naira. So we'll head on the plus icon here, and then we'll go to our gallery, and then I have it already here, so I'll click on it, and then I'll scale it down like this, and then I have it like this. So I have it like this, and I'll click on OK. So what I want to do is to reduce the size a bit so that it fits properly to my design. So I'll place it somewhere here. So remember, I'm just placing these items randomly. When I'm done placing it, I will do a proper arrangement on it. So let's leave it that way. So the next thing we want to do is to add the chair, because it's a beauty pageantry, and then we are expecting the beauty queen to sit on a chair, and then with a throne on that chair. So we'll head on to the plus icon here, and we'll go to our gallery. We have a picture there, so I'll select the picture of the chair, and then I'll just crop it a little bit so that it fits properly. So I crop it a little bit, and then I select it, and I have it neatly like this. And the next thing I want to do is to reduce the size of the chair a bit, and then I place it somewhere here neatly. Let me take this text up a bit. So I take the present text up a bit by using the positioning option. Let me leave it here for now. So the next thing I want to do is to place the text who is fit to wear the crown. So I head on to the text option here, and I drag it all the way. I double click, and then I add the text who is fit so I have it who is fit to wear the crown. So I'll change the font to something bold. I'll change the font to something bold. So I head on to font here, and then I locate something bolder. I'll use this bold font here, and I click on OK. So the next thing I want to do is to increase the size a bit. So I'll just scale it out like this, and then I'll place it. Oh, let me just use the size here. So I head on to the size here, and I reduce it to 35, 38. Let me leave it at 38 for now. So I'll leave it at 38, but I need the font to be a bit bolder again. So with the text selected, I will go to font style, and then I'll make it bolder again. Let me add a stroke because I need it to be bolder than that. So I enable the stroke, and then I change the color to white, and I reduce it to the width to 2 pixels, and it's looking okay for now. So I will increase the spacing a bit to space out the words. So I'll increase it to 4 pixels, and I'll click OK. Now the next thing I want to do is to add the main text, which is the abbreviation for Miss Peace Ambassador Nigeria. That's MPAN. So I head on to the plus icon here, and I head on to text, and I tap to add the text, and I have MPAN, and I click OK. So I would like to change the font to something bolder. I'll change it to something bolder font, and then I'll use this. Click OK, and then I'll increase the size. I'll increase the size to 80 pixels. 80 pixels is fine. So I'll increase it to 80 pixels, and I'll click on OK. But I don't really like this font, so I'll change the font. So I'll change the font. I'll be using Railway Extra Bold. So I click on OK, and I have it like this. So the next thing I want to do is to give this text a 3D effect, and I have a style I've created for this. So all I need to do is to duplicate this so that I have a copy here, and I select this, and then I'll increase the size of this by 1, and I'll click OK, and then I'll head down to my style here, and I'll browse the styles I have here, and this is it. So I'll apply this to it, and then I'll select this, and I'll go to my style, I'll browse the style, and then I'll apply this. So I'll click on this, and then I'll align it to the center, relatively to the center, vertically and horizontally, and I'll also select this, and then vertically, horizontally, and I'll align it so I have it that way. So the next thing I want to do is to group the two of them together. So I go to my layer, and then I click on this, and then I select this and this, and I select this and this, and then I'll merge them together, and I click OK. So I have these two together as one. So I have it together as one like this. So I place it. Our design is beginning to come alive. Our design is beginning to come alive. So let's do a little adjustment to our design. Let's do a little adjustment to our design. So the next thing we want to add is the informations we'll be needing for those that will be registering. I will need them to send their name, their date of birth, their state of origin, their phone number, and location. So to do that, we're going to create a box for the heading. We'll create a box for the heading. I will have it like this, and then let me delete it and do it again. So I have a box like this, and I'll reduce it like this, and I click on OK. So I drag it all the way down, and then I'll duplicate it. And drag it downwards, and then I would like to reduce the size a bit, and I'll change the color of this box from white to something green. So I'll head on to color, and then I change it to a green color. So I click OK. Let me take this out for now. So I'll place the box somewhere here, and then I'll drag it out a bit, and then I'll take this up a bit. I just want to create an effect behind it. So I head on to my layer here, and then I'll bring the green box behind the other one. So I place it behind like this, and then I go back. So I'll select this white box, and then I'll give it a texture of gold. I'll give it a gold texture. So this is the gold texture I'll be using, and then I'll click. I don't like this gold texture, so let me just give it a gold color instead. So I'll just select it, and I'll head on to color, and then I'll activate a color, but I'll edit it, and I'll be using a color code. So I'll click up here, and then I'll change the color code to something D780-860, and then C, and then I check, and then I click on OK. So I'll just make it a little bit brighter, and I click on OK, and I have it like this. So I'll align my box to the center so that I have the two aligned properly. So relative like this and like this, and then relative like this and like this. So the next thing I want to do is to group the two together. So I'll select them, and then I merge together. Yes, and I have the two together. So I can take it down to where I want to place it. Like this. So I would like to reduce the size a bit. Yeah, this is perfect. So now the text we want to have on our box is to register. So we'll type it, to register. I'll click on OK, and then I'll reduce the size of the text. So I select on the text option, and then I head on to size, and then I reduce it to, let's say 20, and then I increase the spacing a bit to 8, and it's perfect. So I'll align it so that it aligns properly with what I have there. But let me duplicate this because I'll be using it again. So I'll copy it, and I have a copy of it up there. So I'll select the shape there, and then I align it to the center, and I'll also select my text, and then I will also duplicate this because I want to use it again. I'll duplicate it, So I'll also align this. I'll also align this to the center to align with what I have here. So I think it's aligned properly. So I'll select the text and then I'll make it bolder by going to the style and bold. Yes. So I would like to group it. So I group this and this together. So I group this and this and I merge them together. So I have this and this together. So I'll select my text up here and I'll place it on this. And then, but before that, let me duplicate it because I would like to use it again. And I also duplicate this shape as well because I will be using it also. So I select my text and then I'll try to align it. I'll try to align it properly with my shape, and then I click on OK. So I'll double click on it to edit it. The next thing I want to have is to add the benefits. And I click on OK. So I head on to style and then I'll increase the boldness and I'll check, and then I'll align it again to align properly with my shape. And I have it like this and I click on OK. So the next thing is to group the two together so that they don't move around when designing. So I select the two and I merge together, and then I have it. So the next one, which is the last, is the contact address. So but I would like to move this text to the top of my layer so that I can see what I'm doing. And then I'll click on it, double click on the text, select the text, double click, and then I'll edit it, call. So I have it like this, and then I'll go to style and I'll bold and I'll click on OK. So I'll duplicate it again because I'll be using that same effect. So I'll select the call and then I'll align it properly like this, and then I'll group my layers together, this and this, and then I merge it together so that it doesn't move around. So now that I have it like this, so I'll take this ups. When you do a mistake you can undo, but let me use this positioning option to move my shape. So I move it like this and I place it here. I place it here like this. So I'll drag this down. I'll drag this down, and then yes, and then I'll duplicate it again. So I'll click on this and I'll double click, and then I'll edit what I need. I need them to send their I needed to send their full name, I need them to send their date birth. I need them to send their state of origin, and I need them to send their phone number, and I need them to send their current location to this number. So I'll be using a dummy number here, and the number is 080 1 dash 000 dash 0000, like this. So this is a dummy number. Well, let me just make it 0 so that it doesn't enter someone else's number. So this is the information I need them to send. So I place it somewhere here like this, and then I will reduce the size a bit to 18 pixels to 19 pixels, or better still, I can leave it at 20 pixels, but I'll reduce the spacing. I'll reduce the spacing, the letter spacing. So I'll reduce it to 5, and it's perfect. So the next thing I want to have there is the benefits. So I'll bring this down, and then I'll take this up. I'll take this up like this, and I'll place it here. So I'll select this, and then I'll duplicate it, and I'll bring it down like this, and I double click on it, and then I'll edit it. So I'll select it, and I'll delete it. So the benefit is we'll have the start price, of a car, and we'll also have represent MPAN internationally, and lots more. So that's the benefit for the pageantry. So I'll add this here like this, and then you are to call this number for any form of inquiry at all. You're to call this number. So I duplicate this, and I tap to edit, and then I'll delete every other thing here except the number. So I'll delete every other thing here, and I'll leave the number. So this is the number you ought to call. So you call this number. So the next thing we want to do is just to arrange every other thing and ensure it's in place. So we'll bring our chair here, and then I'll scale it up like this, place it, like this. So I'll be doing the final adjustment. So I'll position this downwardly a bit, and I'll also position this like this. So I have it placed neatly here. So I'll take this up a bit and then I'll scale it down a bit like this, and I'll increase the size like this. So the next thing I want to do is to place my text in place, because some of them um, are behind the chair, so they are not showing properly. So I'll take them up. They are behind some of my background, so I'll take them up so that they can be visible. Let me take this text up a bit like this, and I have this. I'll take it up also. I think I'll give this a shadow so that it becomes a bit visible. Yes, like this. So I'll delete this logo and add it again from gallery. So the next thing we want to add is to add our crown. So I'll head onto the plus icon and to the gallery, and then I'll bring in my crown here. So I'll crop it a bit so that it fits in properly. I have it like this. So I'll click on OK, and then I'll scale it down, and I'll position it here. I'll position it neatly here, and then I'll give it a shadow, a little shadow. So I'll head on to shadow, and then I enable it, and then I reduce the blur radius to 2 pixels, and then I click OK. So let me just position this a bit to create a balance. So that is it, and we have come to the end of this tutorial. Please guys, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more of these videos, and if you have a special request for a special video, kindly drop it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.